Hello again. Once again, we're met with the dichotomy of working class, middle class versus illegal aliens. Let me give you some examples really quick. We've got the Vax Pass, which is constantly being shoved down our throats. Now we even have the IRS that's saying if you'd like to get on your online account, guess what it's going to require? It's going to require a selfie. Yes, you heard it, a picture to verify you are who you are. But when it comes to illegal aliens, we have a much different standard. Oh, yes, you can use that failure to appear to get airplane traffic to wherever you, or airplane pass, wherever you need to go. You can also get all sorts of benefits and everything else. And to make it worse, if you actually happen to have a job in Canada or Mexico as a truck driver and are delivering goods to the United States and want to be happy, well, you can't unless you've been vaccinated. Yes, we're even pushing it past our borders. Let's hear it for the Biden administration. Thank God for Freedom Roundup. Welcome to Freedom Roundup. I'm Shaun Horner, Executive Director of the Heartland Fund Incorporated, and joining me are my usual cohorts. During our long absence, we're glad to be back. On my direct right is the lovely and talented Michelle Horner.
Hello.
Who happens to be running for the first district in the state of Missouri. We just did redistricting. It's still being...
First congressional district.
Yep, there you go. And then we've got Mr. Jeff Coleman, representative for the 32nd District of the state of Missouri.
Hey, and we actually, sorry about that, we actually keep, our district is 32.
You have to keep the name.
Yeah, we get to keep the name, and we get to keep the majority of the district, and we move north into Buckner and up to the river. So,
wow.
Excited about that.
Well, you get to keep that. And then last but not least, Kress Cambers, treasurer for the Jackson County GOP. And, can I say it or you want to say it? Go ahead. And running for school board for Photo State School District. Yeah. So if you're keeping a tally, folks, that means everyone at the table is running for an office except for me.
Well, you know what, Shaun? I am just very excited to be here. We're back on Freedom Roundup. We got this thing back going. We told you guys last time or the first podcast we did with Upfront with Jeff Coleman that we're taking a little break. Everybody's running for office now. So
except for me.
I'm excited that we got Freedom Roundup together. We're back at the same table together.
Very
good to see you guys again.
It's very hard with everyone's schedule.
You might not, yeah, but you might not be running for office, but you run the PAC.
I do.
You run the PAC.
There's a lot of stuff we got going on with the PAC, and you want me to go for? I'll trump it because
dive into it. Why
pays
not?
For the bills. So the Heartland Fund Incorporated Political Action Committee. We've been busy behind the scenes. We got a whole bunch of new stuff going. We got a new fundraiser, and more importantly, I've decided to throw in differently because I'm not going to run for office. That's just not me. I'm more of a grassroots kind of guy. We're actually next month starting the inaugural meeting for the Sons and Daughters of Liberty.
Yeah.
That's not completely true. In February, you will be running for an office.
Oh, that's right.
He'll be running for Gentry County Republican Committee for Jackson.
There you go.
That's not.
It's still a public office, and you're still running for it.
Okay, that's right. I forgot. So this time next month, we'll all be running for office because apparently you have to run for office in order to be in Roundup now. Oh my!
You're going to pay your $25 fee to the county clerk.
I forgot that was actually an office. Thank you, because now it's funny. So yeah, I don't. I know
when he said that to me earlier today, I'm like, oh, I might just got to spring it on him during the Freedom Roundup because
she had the little sneer on her face. I'm like going,
and it's funny because a lot of people that don't realize you have to register to be on the committee and actually get on and vote. Well, up north, they don't think you need to do that. They think you just show up and you're on the committee. Well, I hate to tell you, but you don't get any voting rights unless you get elected into office.
Absolutely.
So I was like, so one of my friends goes, well, I'm going to go up and go put myself on for the committee. I'm like, well, that's not till February. You have to wait. And I was like, I'll find out what date it is, but I know it's like later in February. And it happened get the newspaper from the Bethany newspaper, and right there, front page was when you start up for all the committees and stuff like that. So it texted us like, it's the 22nd
that's so funny.
February to the March 29th.
All right, so I was wrong. I'm running for office.
There you go. I like it.
Not a real office. It's not.
I'm just saying, I'm running for that office too.
I know.
There's one male and one female for every township.
It's like Noah's Ark, but different.
I think it's sort of kind of neat the way they do
Face
it,
that
because
way.
that way there's a man's voice and a female's voice on every area that there is.
So, well, I was going to go with the Noah's Ark, the rhino, the elephant, but I don't know.
You're going to get me in trouble is what you're
No,
trying to
They
do.
get an elephant in every corner.
There you go.
Oh, that's funny. All
Even
right.
though-
So the first thing we want to start off with is a segment we haven't done for a while, which I'm going to officially refer to as Jeff's Bills. So Jeff.
Wait, we're going to talk about everybody's office first.
Oh, you want to talk about office?
yours?
Yeah.
You
No.
talk about what you were doing, but you
All right.
didn't talk about what everybody else is doing.
All right, so let's do a round table. So apparently I am running for office. It sprung on me because I completely forgot about that. Michelle, let's talk about yours.
I was originally running for District 2, which would have been Jay Eggleston's spot. Now District 2 actually bleeds into, I do believe, Black is now in District 2 because he's Chillicothe. So, Rusty, so I won't run against Rusty because I could run still in District 2, though now I sit in District 1, which is Edwards, right? Andrews.
Andrews.
Andrews is vacating. He term limits out, so I'll be running against one of my friends. But I can't sit there and not do something and be a voice, so I'm still going to run for District 1 state representative. We need more strong women down in the state of representatives to have a voice that are moms, and a lot of people feel the same way that I do. I think we need experience. I think we need people to actually stand up for what they believe in, and I want to be that voice. And we need a strong voice, someone that's willing to talk to the people, listen to the people, and not be what they want and what they want only.
Absolutely.
So,
Oh, and I will be also running for Republican committee with you.
What's your website?
It is Citizens for Michelle Horner.
What's your email?
.gop.
.gop.
Okay.
And so
Citizens for Michelle Horner. .gop. Okay.
And I'm also on Facebook. So, and it's something I had to really think about because I do have a friend that's running for the same seat, but there's a big age gap there, and God keeps telling me I have to do this, and my friends up in Gentry County, they want someone that actually lives there, that actually understands what the people, want, and willing to talk to them and stand up for them. So, I'm definitely not a person that backs down to anybody. So, and after everything I went through, now it's been 2 years since I lost my son.
Yeah.
I know when you lose a child, parts of you does die with that child, but also something also awakens in you, and the want to fight for your child and for other children, and to have what happened to your child and your children not to happen towards anybody else's becomes a major drive for me to fight for our kids.
Right.
Because God gave us our kids to protect, which I know that's one reason I think you're running for school board, is He gave us these wonderful, amazing creatures to protect and to do something for.
Mm-hmm.
And right now, yes, we have some people down in the state House of Representatives that are willing to fight, but I don't think we have enough strong voices to fight for them.
Well said. Well said.
So Jeff, are the lines pretty much done? Because I know yours got switched around. That's what I'm going to segue to you running as well. So
So the lines for the Missouri House are done.
okay, so they're done.
They're done, been agreed upon by both parties. Does not have to go to the courts.
Wow.
So
that's
we're done.
What is that, like the third time in history that's happened or something
Yeah,
like
it's
that?
a very, very small percentage of time that's happened. So we're still looking at the Senate. The Senate will go to the courts because both sides just gave up. They gave up, said we're not doing this anymore, and we'll just give it to the judge. So that's going to be a little bit more time, but for our side, we're good. My district still remains District 32. We get to keep that district number. I maintain, in fact, I pick up some ground for both Grain Valley and Oak Grove. I go clear out to Coleman Road, which
Okay.
is much further south than what I had before.
Right.
And now I go to the north, all the way up to the river.
Wow.
So I pick up Buckner and Blue Mills area, Atherton, and
Nice.
yeah, it's a really.
And I have to say, Jeff, I am very excited because he is now going to be my state representative.
That's what I was going to ask you if he was going to be your guys' rep.
Yes.
Because I know since he goes that way.
Not only am I going to be managing his campaign, but he's going to be my state rep.
He's now my constituent. So
Which makes it even better.
yeah,
with-
it's really cool.
It is really cool.
I'm blessed because my family all went to Fort Osage. Everybody but me went to Fort Osage, and that's where they're from. My dad lives in Buckner. My mom lives in Atherton.
Wait, and you have a lot of support in Buckner. You
Yeah,
really do.
yeah.
I mean, a lot of my Republican women group and High Noon are from Buckner area, and they
Yeah.
support you. So
So it's good to be in Buckner and the north side. I'm looking forward to representing them. I'm sad that I left Blue Springs and the north side of Blue Springs, but my title says state representative. So even though I'm representing a specific district, I also represent everybody in the state. So
Sure, and that's something everyone needs to remember.
that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
All right, Kress.
Yeah. So I am running for school board in Fort Osage. I'm going to be honest that I really didn't see too big of an issue. We know that CRT is being crept into all of our schools. My biggest concern is there's a lady on there that's been on the Board of Education for decades. Okay?
Wow.
Decades.
Never good.
She votes with the administration 100% of the time. She never fights back or questions anything.
who is it? What's her name?
Sharon, I'm going to mess up her last name. Everybody does. Dinkenberg.
I used to know some of the people in Fort Osage.
So there's a couple of really good people on the Board of Education that try to that vote against the administration's interests and the interest of the teachers unions. But I think it is time that we see a fresh face with some new ideas on this Board of Education. One of my concerns is making sure that kids no longer have to wear masks in school. Right now around the metro, we're seeing that really strong. We have all of our surrounding communities in the Fort Osage, including Independence.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lee Summit, Raytown. We have the city of Kansas City doing it again. And, not to digress from the point, but the Attorney General is actually going out
And suing them.
and suing these school districts.
Yeah.
I want to make sure our school district stays
Doesn't
pure.
have to waste money.
Right, right.
I mean, it's not like
Absolutely.
it doesn't cost anything to do. I mean, that's the part that just amazes me, that all these school districts are doing their high and mighty when, they know full well they're going to lose. I mean,
Right,
they're
right.
going to lose. It's just, I'm just very thankful I live in a different country.
But also, up in Gentry County.
Up
you're
in
a
Gentry
different
County,
country.
I
Yeah.
mean,
No,
we
no.
haven't had the mask junk for.
Well, and they even talked about putting a mask back on the kids up in Gentry County, but we don't have. But they know that the suit would come if they did it.
Right.
And while we're
And the
thinking about it,
parents
let's
the
plug
parents-
Bucky.
Yeah, and we got one of our friends to run for school board.
Bucky Miller.
Oh, Bucky.
Yeah,
Yay.
Bucky is
Awesome.
running.
Yay.
Bucky is running. We got
Good
him.
goal,
So
Bucky.
that's one thing that we want to do with the Sons and Daughters of Liberty is to encourage people to run for office.
Because right now,
and
believe it
get
or not,
people actively involved.
our town, King City, has no one running for mayor.
Really?
No one.
Well, you can
well,
run for
Shaun,
mayor, honey.
No, I'm
Horner.
not running for mayor.
Congratulations, Sean.
I'm not,
boy, Sean.
I'm not running for
Attaboy.
mayor.
Yeah,
I'm
you
not.
can.
I don't
I'm
know if
just
he
saying.
can run the pack if he runs for mayor.
I can't.
Well,
No, he can't.
true story. But I just want to put this out here too.
I'm just saying.
The other thing that we're seeing all these statistics that kids are not learning with masks on. They're having a hard time learning, especially
They can't
the younger age kids. They're not getting the social cues that they're supposed to be getting.
Right.
And their mental ability, their cognitive ability is still better than Joe Biden wearing masks, but still it's lower. And the facial expressions, they're not understanding
It's-
facial
Right.
expressions.
But to Joe Biden's defense, did you see him when he was a little kid going down that slide?
No, I did not.
You didn't.
There's a
His head was hitting against the side.
there's a meme. There's a meme where a kid is on one of those squiggly slides,
Poor
and the
thing.
kid's head keeps hitting. And then they say
side.
75 years later. and
Yeah.
It's
It's a sad thing.
you need to get off TikTok.
But
so
I'm very
anyway.
proud of you for standing
That's
up
awesome.
and doing something. But we need more people like that to stand up
Well, I
and
think
do.
My thing is there's not enough parents out there, or there's not enough parents that attend the board meetings, but I hear it on social media that, oh, we need something done, we need something done, we need something done. Their voices aren't being heard at the Board of Education.
When something is done, when they do
Right.
go, I think that's a major issue. Is when people go, no one listens.
Recently, one of my competitors on the running for school board, he put this out here on his Facebook also, which I agree with. Something needs to be done because he had an issue he wanted to bring up, and it was about the Jackson County, the legislator, they introduced that egregious mandate. Do you remember
the ordinance?
the
that we're
ordinance?
talking
Yeah.
about. Yeah.
Anyway, he was wanting to bring it up at the Board of Education,
Right.
and to ask them about it, and pretty much the Dr. Snodgrass said it's not on our agenda. We're not talking about it, even though he went through the prior steps 48 hours in advance. He wrote a letter to the board. He wrote a letter to the superintendent saying this is what I want to bring up. They get 3 minutes. You get 3 minutes to speak, which I think it should be way longer than 3 minutes. That's not a lot of time at all.
No, it's not.
Well, and the thing is, if they have a lot of people, that's why they give 3 minutes.
Right,
I mean,
right.
Understandably, they give 3 minutes for a reason.
So the thing is, if there's actually a concerned parent, even though that concern may not be on the agenda for the night, they still should be able to talk.
yeah, you should be able to talk about it.
Was
Right.
that was that a school board member or just a constituent?
That was a constituent.
Okay, so the usually in a school board in a school board meeting, they give the constituents the 3 minutes that you just talked about to talk about anything they want to. It doesn't have to be on the agenda, but at the same time, they can go to the school board and request the next time to be whatever the topic is. They can ask for that to be put on the agenda.
Okay.
Yeah, talking about to a school board.
Right.
So definitely they should have been able to speak about it during the open comments for the public, but
Yeah.
you're limited to 3 minutes.
Be interesting to see how that pans out.
Yeah.
'cause,
I would at least like it
but they-
to go to a full
Yeah.
5, and that'd be enough time, I
Well,
think,
if
to get
you
your
really
point
think
across.
about it, if you have 100 people willing to speak, that's a lot.
A long time.
A long time.
Right,
if you have
right.
3 minutes, at least you have to speak fast so you get your point across.
I
in a
really
faster
think
way.
I really think though 5 minutes would be plenty of time. You can get your point across, and then you still have enough time for other people to speak as well.
But that same constituent should go to somebody on the board and ask them to have this put on whatever their issue is.
Right.
Ask them to put that on the agenda for the next meeting.
And before we move on to the next topic, I just have to say, I'm the only candidate endorsed by a Missouri State Representative, the only candidate endorsed by a Jackson County legislator, and I am endorsed by
another school board member.
and a school board member as well. Yes. The Jackson County Republican Party. I haven't put this out there yet. I did get. Do you want to call this an endorsement? Chanel Rayon.
Wow, that's
Gave me best
awesome.
wishes. She is the
Yes.
White House correspondent for OAN News.
That's awesome.
I saw that.
right there.
That's pretty
That's
awesome.
huge.
She's
That's huge.
That's awesome. Which, incidentally, is no longer on DirecTV, but we don't have that as a
Yeah, I
topic.
know. Where do we get OAN now?
I know.
Online,
Online.
essentially.
Oh,
Well, you
really?
can still get it. You can still get it on. What is it? Not DirecTV. DirecTV is AT&T. What's the other one? Dish.
Dish Network.
Dish. I
Okay.
think you still
Still.
can, but.
if that's not censoring what we were thinking, then what else?
Oh, right.
We'll be talking about that here shortly. All right, so let's do. You want to go through, Jeff, your latest bills that you've got for this legislative session? You want to talk
this-
about some of those?
Yeah, because this is going to be a really
'Cause I really
busy-
want to talk about the tax one again, but that's
yeah.
just me.
Yeah, actually. Hopefully,
Tell you my horror story.
Here's the here's the issue when you come to bills and HCARs and legislation. you have to get it through the speaker first. So the speaker he's the one, or she's the one, in this case it's a he, he's the one that has to refer your bill to a committee. So right now, not much has gone through because they were working on the congressional district lines. So we now have passed that out of the House, so we can pretty much move forward and start getting some of that legislation out. Being the chair of the professional registration and licensing, we've gotten a few bills through, three bills that have come to the committee. And then last week, after we passed the congressional lines, we started getting some bills back through the committee. So I think things are going to start loosening up. We have been working on this congressional lines for the last 2 weeks. We finally got it through. It's now over in the Senate. The Speaker of the House I've been working with to get specifically my tax assessment, property assessment bill out, which is an HJR, actually. It's not a bill. It is a House Joint Resolution. What that does is it puts it out on the ballot, and then the people get to vote for it. But before I can get it out to the ballot, I've got to get the House to vote for it and approve the language, and then it has to get to the Senate, which Senator Mike Searpoy currently is sponsoring, not sponsoring. He is handling the bill on the Senate side. So hopefully we can get that through. When we get that through, then it goes directly to the ballot. And what it does is it does away with everything we've been used to. It does away with all the market value stuff.
So nice.
And as if the public passes the language, then whatever their house assessment is at that time becomes their base. Moving forward, then we put a cap on how much the assessor, the county assessor, regardless of what county you're in, can raise that value. They can only raise your value by 2% per year, which will be 4% over a 2-year period, or Consumer Price Index, CPI, over that same period of time.
So needed, because I made the well, I don't want to say a mistake because I love where I live, but I moved, and because I moved and purchased a house, they reassessed the property, which I guess hasn't been done since 1920.
Well,
I mean, the ladies, bless their heart, the assessor was out there, and I'm not kidding, with the tape measure, was actually checking out my deck. I'm not kidding.
wow.
Because apparently there's only so much that can be built without it. I don't know. But anyway.
So you bring up a good point, because in Jackson County, different from where you live.
Yep.
In Jackson County, they hired a firm from outside the state. I believe they were from Ohio.
Illinois, Ohio.
Yeah, somewhere. I think.
Doesn't matter. Not here.
Yeah, it wasn't here.
They did the same thing in St. Louis, right? These the same people.
Maybe.
I think so.
But the fact is, the important piece of that in Jackson County is that they paid $17 million.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous.
Yeah, to bring these people in to go to each house in Jackson County. Why do you think they did that? Anybody know? Kress, you know why they would hire a firm to come out and assess your values?
Well, an outside firm?
Yeah.
So they wouldn't guess.
Excuse me. Well, because right now they were guessing before, so if they use an outside firm, then there's no way to track. I don't know. You tell me.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to put you on the spot. You can cut that out. If you
I
want.
thought I had the answer to that.
Well,
and I was taking something off the top of my head. You're looking at me sideways, so obviously I was totally wrong.
Well, yeah. The reason that they did that is because in order to go to 15% or higher,
Oh yeah, this is it.
they have to physically inspect your house.
Yeah.
So before the last assessment time, they went out and there was about 73,000 low-income housing that they raised to 14.9% because they didn't physically inspect their house. So they raised it up to the maximum value that they could raise it without and still be within the law. Because at 15% or higher, you have to physically inspect the house. So now,
So 14.9 is
There-
perfectly okay.
Yes.
That's amazing.
on 73,000 plus people that are low income.
That's just
So what are they going to do? They're not going to be. They don't have the wherewithal to go out and contest the values.
no, much less pay it once it's finally finalized.
Exactly.
They can't. I mean,
Well, just asking because your political prowess. Do you think that was purely political for someone to take over those homes of poor people?
You know what? I don't know how to answer that, but I will tell you that that's the maximum amount, and those folks got a raise in their property value
For exactly-
taxes, even though the Hancock Amendment kicks in.
yeah. I was going to ask. That was the next question. Was the Hancock?
Yep, it does. It does kick in, and it does reduce that tax to a certain degree. But for these folks, it did not increase or did not decrease the tax issue enough for them not to be able to not worry.
No.
So it is a really bad move, in my opinion, on Jackson County, specifically Frank White and the assessor, who was appointed by Frank White. And this year, with those people that they hired from outside the state, what they're doing is they're telling everybody, hey, don't worry about it. This year we're going to be a little bit less aggressive, but just know the next assessment time, you need to be prepared because we're going to have to catch up. Now,
That's amazing.
when they come out and they say, don't worry about it, we're not going to be quite as hard on you, why would you think that? What's happening in our political atmosphere that would cause them to make that statement? Anybody know?
Oh, you mean midterms?
Yeah, like Frank White.
Yeah.
Frank White is up for re-election.
Yep.
So he doesn't want those big increases. What he wants is smaller so he can get reelected. Then he can come back in and do what he wants to.
But Democrats are famous for that.
Yeah.
Forget what I've already
Right.
done. Let's remember this year, not last year.
Yeah. Well, they got to make up that $17 million they paid for that outside fund somewhere, right?
Yeah.
So this is what's going to happen.
That's
Well,
so
the thing is
so
that-
democratic. With we have to figure out how to pay the $17 million. So we'll raise the prices on the people you just assessed, and then we'll make up 16 of the $17 million, and then we'll increment it later. I mean,
Yeah.
it's
And
just,
we'll increase it some more. I just.
Well,
I just-
here's the thing, guys. If we get this passed, guess what? They're going to have to suck up that $17 million because they won't be able to raise the values. Like,
Why do you think they're so
going to.
opposed to this?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, and the thing is if you've been watching and listening to all these Democrats and what they want to do, they want to tax everybody out of their homes. They want to make sure everybody's homes is actually owned by the federal government and the banks. That they want these big companies to own everybody's homes.
Interesting enough, Jeff. There is a lady running for mayor in Independence. Her name is Colleen Huff. Were you able to meet her at the last We the People meeting?
I was not, unfortunately.
So she was talking about how Independence has some outrageous property taxes right now as well. I don't know if you want to get with her and say, hey, look, I'm doing this HJR 80, which also stands for House Joint Resolution.
Right.
Anyway, that's getting to the weeds. But she's been talking about this, and that was some of her, the people she's been talking to, the residents of Independence. They've been talking about how outrageous their property taxes were as well.
Well, here's the amazing thing. That is a theme across the whole state.
Right.
Everybody wants to talk about the fact that I'm in Jackson County and it's a Jackson County problem. It is not a Jackson County problem. This is a problem across the state. And
that's what I wanted to say was when we moved, my property tax difference, same cars, approximately the same value of house, a little bit more land, a lot more land, like a lot more land. It's 7 acres instead of 0.3.
I didn't know Biden was here.
But what?
Get vaxxed.
Come on, man.
Come on, man.
Come on, man.
But that still doesn't substantiate that my property taxes were, ready for this,
do your job. Get vaxxed.
4 times.
4 times. There you go.
4 times what I paid
There you
in
go.
Independence.
That's wow.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
we lived in Independence.
And we lived in
Yeah,
Independence.
that's crazy.
You caught me there.
Same cars.
Yep.
And this is just personal property. This isn't even the house. I'm
Well,
not even
the-
talking about the house here.
Yeah, the cars don't get involved with what we're doing
Right,
with
right,
the
but I'm-
HAR, but it's a separate issue. They're both called property taxes.
Right.
That's the unfortunate part, but we're talking specifically about your residential property.
Oh, and it went up too.
Yeah,
It went up too because
yeah.
I got the little note from my mortgage company saying, hey, we need to do more escrow.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
Representative, speaking of property taxes, then I know you're working on a residential one. What about personal property tax with cars and everything else?
Well, that one is not in my area right now, but I do know that Senator Eigel is working on something in reference to that.
Okay.
You've got a couple of people working on the actual cars and the personal property portion of that.
Yeah, I follow Bill.
And as a personal side note, this year was the first year I actually paid taxes on my horses. I put them on there every year. Jackson
Well, it's
County.
not even our horse.
Jackson
We still
County
got
was
to
like,
charge it. Got
Horse?
for it.
yeah. They're like, who the hell checks that box at the bottom? And I did every year. I put one. Never got taxed for it. This time I did $4.
Well, we got
$4
two
we taxed for a
horses.
horse.
We got
$4, yeah,
taxed for
like
two
$8.
I didn't know they
horses.
taxed you for having a horse.
So
Yeah.
one of the horses is even ours.
Yeah, just like a car, dude.
Yeah.
Really?
Yep, that is
Huh.
true.
I'll show you.
I mean, I am naive to that, I guess.
$8
That's
value.
crazy.
Well, sorry, $8 value, which I don't know.
Yeah,
like
whatever the
50 or
tax
something.
is
Yeah,
to
whatever.
that.
I don't know,
Yeah,
but yeah, $8 value.
Because horses,
Wow.
you
$4 a
actually do
horse.
something with them. I mean,
Yeah.
Actually,
Yeah.
it should be a negative on that. Because
I believe so
I
too.
believe so
The
too.
amount of
So-
food?
kind of like a boat, isn't it? You
Which is a funny story, which I won't bring up here. But yeah, I did get two hay bales delivered. Right, they put one out there for us. Those metal pins you see around them,
Yeah.
very necessary. Right, Farmer Shaun found out that the hard way because horses will go, oh, you know what? I can eat and sleep in it.
Oh.
And I'll just go ahead and poop in them too.
Oh.
So, so
It's a
Wow.
big waste of hay.
it was a big waste of hay. So there went $65.
Yeah.
And so I asked Bucky, my neighbor, who still says I should be doing a YouTube channel called Farmer Shaun or Horner's Corner or something. So he brought he just had an extra one because that's what they do.
Right.
Brought it over and I asked for help. I said, okay, I tried to move the hay bale. I can't do it. And
He laughed.
he laughed. His wife said, why don't you go over there and help Shaun? And he goes, you can't move those. They weigh like 1,000 pounds.
Well, you can move them, but
Yeah.
once they start,
Oh, the big round one?
Yeah, the big round
and
one.
they are very light.
The
They're
big
easy
round
to
ones,
move,
okay.
but once they start, they
You
don't
can't stop.
Yeah, and it was facing downhill towards the highway. So I was like doing this with it. I'm like doing this with it. I'm like going, this is probably, put my shoulder against it, kind of nudging it. I'm like, this is probably not a good idea.
not going to happen.
I should probably
I
stop.
think we need to reach out to John Deere and see if they would like to sponsor the podcast and get
Give me a
Mr.
tractor.
Horner a tractor.
So like I was,
Yeah, Deer Ag Power. No,
so
but-
what I was going to
go ahead.
say is that it's the two best days of having a horse is the day you buy it and the day you sell it.
Well, yeah, I was going to say that's probably right.
I
So
like my horse.
She likes her horse. We've had it since before we were married. So,
I've had it for 15 years plus.
yep.
So,
Now we got another one named Ham.
but she's only good for ham.
Yeah, I was going to say. So anyway, all right.
What do we
sorry.
got next on the list?
Yeah, what other bills you got in the
So
hopper?
the other thing, the priorities this year are I've got like 10 or 11 bills that I'm working on.
Holy cow!
Yeah, it's a busy session, but the big thing is going to be the human trafficking.
Oh.
that is something that most people kind of know about, and they kind of think about every once in a while when they see it on the news. But it's extremely important that people really take a look at this because Missouri,
It's everywhere.
Yeah, and Missouri is one of those states that is the center of all of the trafficking. Because think about it, we got I-70 going west and east, right? And then you have I-35 going north and south. And
I-35
I-35 specifically right now
Is big on it.
Oh, geez, you got all the illegals coming across the border, right? And they have open rein to come up, and once they get up here, it's like they go everywhere. So we're trying to make it harder for the people to actually buy this sex. That's what it is. And so we're going to make it, I think it's a misdemeanor now. I know that for a fact.
Only a misdemeanor?
John, if you go out and you try to buy sex from an underage person that's trafficked, or any kind of underage person, or an adult, or it doesn't matter the sex, because it's everybody right now, it's a misdemeanor. Can you believe that?
Wow.
So we're going to make it a felony. So it will turn into a felony, and on top of that, you're going to I think they still put them on the sex offenders list, but we're going to make sure they stay on the sex offenders list, and we're going to fine them $5,000. So we have different bills that we're working through to make all those things happen.
Yeah.
And when they do fine them, if we catch a John and they get fined, that money then goes to, half of it goes to law enforcement that was involved in to try to train and make sure that they have the necessary funds to continue their work on that. The other half goes to the facilities that are helping those folks.
Yeah, because my company even had a presentation on sex trafficking, because we get, with consultants, we're kind of all around, and they wanted to make sure that we could identify and that we're familiar with what's going on, because it is prevalent here. And my company that I work for, my day job, is pretty much all over here in the Midwest. So that's why they did that, because we're heavily concentrated in Omaha, Kansas City, and Denver.
And that's one thing I did focus on, as High Noon president, was one of the things I really focused on my ladies was helping those that have been sex trafficked. There's a cafe in Lee Summit that helps. That there's a home for sex trafficked women in Harrisonville,
right? Called Restoration House.
The Restoration House has a cafe in Greenwood, and all that money that goes when you buy coffee, soaps, and stuff like that goes to it. And so we put all our efforts in trying to help them and trying to stop it.
That's good.
And that was my main goal, because it was also President Trump's main thing too, was sex
the human trafficking. Absolutely.
I think he opened people's eyes to how bad it was.
Yeah, there was over 400,000 kids last year alone involved in sex trafficking.
And I'm surprised that it's just now that you're doing something. I'm surprised I haven't done anything.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. I actually went to a group called We the People of Jackson County, and they introduced me to the Restoration House, the folks that, actually, the first time I heard was through
the Christmas party. Yeah, we had the Christmas party.
The women's group called High Noon. And I really got involved with them. Since that point, when I went to We the People and heard them a second time, the Restoration House, which is an awesome organization, and they are actually having a big fundraiser on February the 6th for anybody that wants to go. And if you want to go to that and want information on it, just private message me on Facebook, because it's I'll probably put out on my campaign Facebook also the invitation. It is an awesome organization. They've got a 3-year program that is, the basic is 3 years. If they need more time, they'll give them more time. But the big thing is they are trying to expand their beds available to these people that are human trafficked. And they do such a great organization, a great job on that organization. What they do is they detox these folks the first year. And when I say detox, I'm not talking just about drugs.
Right.
I'm talking about
behaviors.
Exactly. Because we don't even have a clue what they've gone through. It's just incredible what these poor people have gone through. So they have to learn a whole new set of values, a whole new set of ways to living and such, and trusting.
I was gonna say, just interpersonal relationships are going to have to be thought of.
I used to talk to her a lot, and I just couldn't believe all the stuff that she was telling me, what they went through, like you were just saying, and And the age range.
Oh, yeah. Unbelievable, the age range. And the thing is that you can go down there and you can talk to these folks and see where they started and where they end. Now, they don't get everybody. Not everybody is going to be able to make it through, unfortunately. I wish they could. But they get a big portion of the people that come through their house that actually make it through the program and become good citizens. And so it's a situation where we're trying to get the law enforcement away from, and it's not law enforcement per se, it's just the whole system away from blaming the person who is being trafficked.
Right.
And putting the blame back on the people who are trafficking and the people that are buying this.
Yeah. Because what do they refer to? It's not training. What do they call it? They call not grooming. Is it grooming? Grooming. Yeah. Yep. That's what it is.
Yep.
It's an awful term.
Well, think about the kids that are whatever their situation is at home, or maybe they're not even at home. Maybe they're out on the streets, and they get somebody that comes in and says, "You know what? I love you. I really want to take you in."
They show them love, affection.
I was going to say
something that they've been missing in their life.
I'm not talking about that though. I'm talking about the first stage. I'm talking about them having the traffickers come in and really make them feel like hey,
they're being cared for.
Yeah. And then the first thing that happens is they go into this whole process of thinking that this person really truly loves them, and then that person turns around and makes them go into the trafficking situation, right? So now you've got a huge trust issue for someone like Restoration House that comes in and says, "You know what? We care about you."
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
really?
and all of a sudden, they hear the original. Yeah.
This sounds like what we just went through.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the issue when I say detox. That's one of those issues.
So I have a question for you, Representative. You were talking about the Johns, the people that buy the women or the children for whatever, slavery or sex or whatever. What about, I don't know the proper term, the pimps, the people that actually purchase them to the ones that put them into slavery.
Yeah,
they're hard to find, especially when you're talking about the ones that are up and down. Literally, right. they'll ride with a trucker, from stop to stop. So their pimp or whoever could be states away.
And according to Restoration House and talking to her, a lot of these people, they're family members. Family members are the number one.
That's scary.
Person that puts these people into being sex trafficked. Their parents or their boyfriends. That's the number one person that puts these people into
boyfriends.
And no, the families do it too. I mean,
oh, really?
She gave astronomical statistics on how many people were from loved ones that do it, and then you have to find that person because those people run after their person. And we asked her, it's like, well, aren't you afraid that they're going to come back for their person? They're like, nah,
right.
They'll find someone else to do it, to replace them.
Wow. They make like between $100,000 and $200,000 a year per person.
Yeah, and they could get a fresh new face really easy. And I was really, because we really grilled them on the across the borders too on it, and she says, you believe it that the majority of people that are sex trafficked are from here in the United States. They're not across the borders.
So
she goes, not here in the state of Missouri. They don't see that very much.
That's what I was reading. A lot of people come from the state of Texas and California, and they use Missouri I-35 and I-70 as a pass-through because they can get through a lot quicker and put the children or the adult women through much faster from coast to coast that way.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Jeff, was there anything else? I think you had one more. One more bill I want to talk about before we switch topics.
Well, I think that you probably are interested in my COVID bill.
That's a hot subject, isn't it?
What is this COVID that you speak of?
Yeah. Well, many of my fellow conservatives are not willing to tell a business what they can do. And I I understand that in most cases, but when you have a situation like we're going through now, I think that there's at some point you have to step in and do something. And so nobody wanted to tell a business, hey, you can't mandate this vaccine, so-called vaccine. So I took the approach, okay, if you don't want me to mandate whether or not they can do the vaccine, then what I'll do is because if you tell your employee that they have to take a shot, that's not even, we're not talking about a shot that's been proven. We're talking about an experimental drug right now.
Right, which is under emergency, whatever they call it, whatever the
that
emergency.
ran out.
And no. It was going to, and this is the problem that a lot of people think that the FDA approved the drug.
Right.
They did not approve the drug. What they did is they extended the time for that to be considered for the experimental drug from
the emergency.
From 2021 to 2023. So the administration originally put it out that, hey, it's been approved. It was not approved.
No, and the emergency only lasts as long as there isn't an effective treatment.
Yeah. So here's the thing, guys. Here's the thing.
I'll let you talk.
If you look at it, nobody has any liability to this drug.
No.
Not one person except the person who is receiving the shot.
Who has no choice if they want to
Continue their employment.
Yeah, continue their employment. Yeah.
Right. So what my bill does is it just simply says, okay, you can mandate it. If that's what you want to do, you can mandate it through your company. However, if your employee has any kind of negative effects, you are financially responsible for that employee's health.
Right, because you at this point you said you do this or you're going to lose your livelihood. Most folks don't have a choice. They're going to do it whether they wanted to or not. You're coercing them.
That's right.
Then of course you should. I mean, somebody has to be responsible. Yes. What?
That's what happened to me.
I know that's what happened. That's what
happened to me.
I know, because you didn't have a choice.
I didn't have a choice.
No, and that's the sad, sorry fact.
Wait
of
a
the matter.
second. You had a choice. You could have gone to work for somebody else.
You want to talk about this?
That's
the response.
That's the argument people give.
That's the argument.
And I want to bring that up because I watched that committee hearing.
Yeah,
and who's that geriatric gentleman in the very back? He's an attorney in this judiciary committee.
Yeah.
He is.
I have some choice words for this guy, but let me tell you, you cannot just quit your job and go find another one making what I'm making in a drop of a hat, right?
No.
I mean, Biden's economy is not that well, and we know that there's ample jobs available, but I've been out at Lake City for 15 years.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to start all over with seniority. I'm going to have to start at the bottom with the pay and everything. I am not willing to do that. And right now, I know I have job security in what I'm doing. I don't know if I have job security in something else, but
it becomes a cost-benefit analysis, right? You
Right,
have
absolutely.
to decide, well, am I willing to take the chance?
And this dimwit in diapers that's pretending that's president, after the Supreme Court, please do. After the Supreme Court said this is no longer a mandate, it was too late. Our company set a date for us to take it before Christmas. And when we came back from our Christmas break, that's when the Supreme Court said, you no longer are mandated. Well, now what am I supposed to do? I can't just take it out or take it off like I take off my work boots.
Well, there's like some health guru people that don't believe in these vaccine mandates and they would tell people like this tea to drink and stuff that actually helps take some of those metals out of your system.
So the other point that they're bringing up, what you were saying, being conservative, you're not supposed to interfere with private business and all that stuff. But everybody understands the definition of liberty, right? It's the state of being free within society from oppressive restrictions. And to me, this is an oppressive, authoritative restriction. But your bill, Jeff, I just want to point this out. Your bill is not creating any restrictions on private business, but it's doing the opposite. It's creating a choice, and it's telling this business, if you are forcing your employees to take this jab, and I'm not calling it a vaccine, to take this jab, they will be liable for the after effects of the jab.
It's like that old Inspector Clouseau joke, right? Businesses, the guy comes in and goes, "Does your dog bite?" And the guy says no. Then he reaches to touch the dog bites him. He goes, "I thought you said the dog doesn't bite." And the answer is, "That's not my dog."
Oh,
Right?
yeah,
Right?
that's not my dog.
Same thing here. It's like, well, we wanted to make sure that our group was healthy. We didn't know that, you'd have any sort of ill effects or anything. That's not us. That's,
Well, here's
somebody else.
Here's
Here's
the argument. The shot, which they want to call a vaccine, it doesn't do what they say it was going to do.
No.
First of all, you get the shot. You can be fully vaccinated, and you still get the virus.
Right.
You can still pass it on to other people. You can still end up in the hospital. It can still kill you.
As I say, and worse, you can still pass away from it. So it's a little more,
So why is it that we're mandating anything that doesn't? It's not effective.
No.
It's not doing what they said. And Shaun, going back to your point, or no, it was Kress. Going back to your point, they did this purposely. From the standpoint, they waited for all their stuff that they had to do legally in order to make sure that the businesses got you into a position where you had to take the shot.
yeah.
And they knew from the very beginning that it wasn't going to be constitutional. They said it. They said it from the beginning. We can't make you take this shot.
That's why it's coercion. That's why it was coercion. That's why it was so bad. It's not we're making you. We're giving you this awful choice, which really isn't a choice.
And the thing is that's so frustrating. Is that this administration has lied from the very beginning. They tell you, no, we can't make you take the vaccine. And then what do? They come back and they try to make you take the vaccine. They said, oh, the vaccine is going to make sure that you do not get to, if you take the vaccine,
Everything will go back to normal.
Everything's going to go back to normal. You won't get the virus. You won't have to wear a mask. And then what do? Turn right back around and they make you wear the mask, even though you got the vaccine. And as I just stated a second ago, the vaccine does not stop the virus.
Well, and it's really telling also that they have these new tests that are supposed to detect the virus more, but in actuality, all they're really testing for is influenza A.
Well, it's also because of Omicron. No.
Well, and they've already said that. I mean, now Omicron is nothing more than a sore throat
And a
headache.
We're at an endemic right now.
Yeah.
It's the end of the pandemic.
Yeah,
It's an
and-
She
endemic.
said we're only in the first of 5 steps, though.
Oh my God.
I mean,
So her mom is triple vaxxed.
And by her mom, you mean Becky.
I'm sorry.
Producer Becky.
Producer Becky is triple vaxxed. No, we're not on video. We're on audio, so they can't see me point.
Right. You're right.
I'm sorry, folks. Thank you, Shaun.
You're welcome. I'm right here for you, buddy.
Her mom is triple vaxxed, and her boyfriend is not vaxxed. They both got. Well, that was my 4:30 timer to clock out during the week. I don't know why it went on today. So, they both got Omicron.
What?
They both got.
How is that possible?
They both got COVID, and she got it worse than he did,
and she's vaxxed.
and she's vaxxed. Isn't that crazy?
Was he not almost laughing at her, going, "Told you"?
I don't know.
Well, and we'll talk about this in our next segment too, about the whole hibernation, the COVID hibernation, and how that's really wreaking havoc on especially the older community.
And I think the difference between COVID and, we always hear polio. Well, everybody's vaxxed against polio, and look where polio's at. It really doesn't exist. Okay,
They stopped.
you took a shot, and you weren't at risk at getting the polio virus after getting the shot, right? But you're still at risk of getting COVID after getting
shot.
triple
Yeah, I was
vaxxed.
gonna say
So, I think
we're doing something wrong.
Right. I'd raise some questions, and I'd be pretty pissed if I had 3 vaccinations in 6 months and still got polio.
I know we're going off into the weeds with some of the stuff that we're talking about Jeff's bill, but did you read in the news, though, this 26-year-old man died, perfectly healthy individual died. They did an autopsy report and found out that was a vaccination that he died from.
Really? Well, probably because myocarditis.
Yeah.
Something-
Yeah, it
something
was
with his heart.
myocarditis,
Yeah.
and it was.
Yeah.
It always seems
And
to be
I'm
the
telling
case.
you, I swear to God, I feel my heart doing some weird stuff every now and then. It just all of a sudden.
You need to get at least checked
It'll
out. Well, you need to
cramp up
realize
on
if
me
you
or
do
something.
have another problem that they could put you on something to
Right.
cause, and which I think is another reason they wanted everybody to go on these shots and have these shots is because they want
Pharmaceutical companies get more money.
Customer
money.
for life.
The more,
There you
the
go.
more, the more that somebody has health issues, now you have another issue that you're now going to be taking medicine
Because if you have to
for.
take
Yep.
something for your heart, you're
Heart,
not going to stop taking it.
something for your heart.
Because it's not like I don't need it. I'll just
Yeah,
hook myself
yeah,
up to
yeah.
a pump. All right. So we're gonna take a break, and when we get back, we're gonna talk about Biden in year one and kind of talk on that, and then we'll wrap it up. So back in a minute. This portion of the podcast is sponsored by the Heartland Fund Incorporated, sponsoring issues and candidates that care. Appreciate the podcast? Well, it's expensive. Could we bother you for, say, a cup of coffee a month? For $5 a month, you can contribute to our grassroots effort. Donate online, day or night, at www.fundingtheheartland.com. Hello, sir or madam. We would love to hear from you. No, really, honestly. If you have any feedback, comments, or hate mail, or hate female, visit www.fundingtheheartland.com, or you can email us directly at media@fundingtheheartland.com.
If you like the podcast, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button. Thanks from all of us at Freedom Roundup. And now on to the show.
Welcome back. I'm Shaun Horner, Executive Director of the Heartland Fund Incorporated. On our third segment, let's talk about Biden in year one. Anyone?
Biden?
Oh,
yeah.
The dimwit in chief. The dimwit diaper
The
in
6
chief.
foot of stupid.
The 6 foot of stupid.
He doesn't know if it's Tuesday or July. 1 year later, we were looking at gas prices from the Trump administration
do that.
to now. Last year was $1.98. Right now we're sitting at $3.15 across the board. No matter what county, what city you live in, I've noticed that $3.15 across the board. Milk prices jumped from $4.59 a gallon. Well, I guess they went down a little bit to $4.52, and I'm talking about like A&E because that's what we buy. Loaf of bread, we usually do Sara Lee, or do we do Highland? It doesn't matter. We do one of those.
Do any of those, do they add to our commercial side of things or no?
Oh, monetizing?
Monetizing?
Yeah, don't say that.
Not a sponsor.
Yeah.
So a loaf of bread, we buy the expensive loaf of bread. Not a sponsor, but Sara Lee, and it went from $1.75 to $3.29.
Yeah.
Eggs right now are $1.99, and they were sitting at $1.60.
Or free.
Well, you guys
Well,
got
not really
the
because we have to still buy food.
Feed, but it's $12 for 40 pounds.
yeah. Well, you guys got the chickens that produce for you.
Warner's Corner.
The price of crude oil in the United States was sitting at $64 a barrel, and here we are at $86.29
I was going to say
a barrel.
the futures are insane right now.
Yeah.
Well, that's not our fault. That's because the outside,
Well, that's because OPEC.
Yeah, OPEC. Yeah.
OPEC.
Yeah,
Well,
it's all-
after
all-
Biden shut down
I was going to say, weren't we
pipelines.
producing
Yeah.
oil
Right.
at some point?
Biden shut down the pipelines and then blamed OPEC for raising the prices. Jeff.
Well, I was just thinking, to your point, Sean, we were the number one
Yeah.
producing country.
Yeah, when we
up
turn on the
until-
spigots, we actually produce more than Saudi Arabia.
than anybody else.
But keep saying this over and again. The Democrats want the United States to fail. They want it to
They want us to go to electric.
Well, they want us to be gone. Period. They don't want us. They want us to go the way of China. They want us to have social credit scores. They want us to.
Well, we're on our way. I'll
depend
talk about that here in a second.
everything, that is relied just on China. They want us to rely on everybody but ourselves.
So yeah, I teased this at the beginning, and we're seeing this now. Speaking of Biden and the 1 year in, so he's failed on the vax passes, right, for the most part. But instead of that, we've got some weird, wacky stuff going on with the agencies that he can directly control, specifically the IRS. I don't know if you guys saw this story.
What the Democrats have always done, they've always used the IRS as
as the
their
bludgeoning
As our
tool.
cudgel for
And
the
between the
against
IRS,
conservatives.
between the IRS and now the Department of Justice, which is scary. But yeah, you cannot log in to the IRS website to get to your account unless you ready for this? You go to the ID Me and actually put a selfie in. It's the most
Facial recognition.
yeah.
Remember a couple weeks ago when Facebook was like, hey, show us your 10-year picture. What did you look like 10 years ago?
Yeah.
Hey, guess what?
Please update our files.
Yeah. FBI's like, ooh, let's look at Facebook real quick.
Yeah, that's exactly what they do, and I can't believe how many people do it. And I'm
Well,
like,
it seems like a fun thing,
Right,
and
No,
the
it's not a fun thing for me.
the problem with a lot of folks is they don't want to think bad about what's going on.
Yeah.
they really don't.
Or they're just ignorant to the whole thing.
Right. Either way, they
Well, we've had
yeah.
our lives, most of our lives, we haven't had to do that.
No, we haven't had to look over our shoulder.
Yeah, and the government has always been good.
Well,
But now
Can you put air quotes around that? Good.
good. But
I
yeah, but nobody
think
can see it.
since Obama took charge, our government has
Weaponized.
Been weaponized
weaponized
against the
against
people.
us.
Yeah.
Well, like I used to say, and I said this since we started the Freedom Roundup podcast. It used to be you had your team, I had my team, but we were both playing in the NFL, right?
what I used to think.
Now we don't have that. Now you're not even playing football. I don't know what the hell you're playing. You're playing like cricket. I don't understand your rules, and I don't care.
I don't know what we're playing, but Jeff, your wife is cooking something really good. It smells amazing.
Well,
dinner.
going on to this stuff that's Biden's done in the last year and the fear mongering that they've done with this COVID stuff.
Oh, the COVID hibernation.
The hibernation
It's so
and stuff.
bad.
It's so bad. And when you talk about all what's going on, and now one of Shaun's friends' mom has brain cancer, and it's she only has a couple months to live, and it just got me thinking. And she was one of those, you have COVID, I'm so afraid of COVID, I don't want you to get near me kind of person.
She tried
so bad to protect herself, and she was so scared. But during that whole entire time, her grandson moved away, her son got married, and she social distanced herself where she wasn't like around anybody. But now she's going to die within the next couple months. And to me, that just comes to show you that life is really too short to be scared of the stupid things like COVID that you can possibly die from, possibly not. But to live your life and to enjoy your loved ones, enjoy your grandchildren and your children, and live your life. God said, do not fear. And there's a reason he said that.
Amen.
So we need to listen to God's word instead of listening to these governments that want you to worship them instead of worshiping the one true God above. And we need to protect ourselves.
You just pissed off a lot of lefties because they worship at the altar of Dr. Fauci.
Well, they just did that statue right outside. Where was it? That statue of the person, wearing a mask, a doctor suit, going like this, looking up.
Oh, my
with his
gosh.
arms up
Oh, yeah,
and
you
the
haven't seen
vest.
that?
You have seen that?
No.
It's
What are we doing?
Yeah,
It was like it was a homage to the health
mask
services because of
but-
everything they've gone through with
That's
COVID.
disgusting.
Guys, but it's got the mask on, and the stuff, and I'm like, well, it's definitely praising COVID, but it's not worshiping the one true God, and I'm just like
I'll keep
thinking
to-
to myself,
I'll keep to the same point that we've always had is that I will say this from I said this from the beginning of COVID, until I see people literally falling down dead in the streets, it's not a pandemic. It's a dangerous illness, don't get me wrong. It kills people, don't get me wrong, but it's not the Black Plague. Right? It's just not. I'm sorry.
It kills people who have underlying conditions.
Comorbidities.
I don't know that I've heard of somebody that has died purely of COVID.
No, and you won't. And the biggest problem is that we've monetized death. Right? We spoke about this a couple times.
Yeah.
If you're declared with COVID, suddenly you have a price tag and you're worth money.
That's right.
Great point.
To the hospital. If you die, you're now paid for. Your death is now paid for. If it's let's say you're a bum on the street, you're brought into the hospital, you have COVID, you die. That hospital and that county is responsible for your remains, one way or another, right? Whether they burn it, whether they bury it, whatever. If you're flagged as COVID, suddenly you have a price tag, and somebody's going to flip the bill for that. What is the hospital going to do? Are they going to take in somebody and say, well, they've got the flu? Or are they going to say, no, they've got COVID?
Right.
Cha-ching.
Your toe tag will not have a price tag.
Exactly. And that's
attached to it.
exactly what has happened. And that's the sad, sorry fact is it became monetized. And the moment it became monetized, I'm talking strictly about, the stuff that's given from the federal government. This became a much bigger thing than it needed to be. Is that the statue?
That's the statue.
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah. So it's a big like doctor with a mask,
I'll
and it's
send it to you,
it's
so-
kind of a got their hands in a like
up
a
or towards
like
God.
a up towards God, like look at me, bless me.
Hands up or towards
All right.
Well, that's a false idol.
Anything? Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
don't even get me started on that. So, anything else you guys want to mention about the Biden year one? We kind of talked about that. I led in with the arrest warrant acting as a travel pass and truckers not being allowed in from the same country. Which I'll still hold that up. How does that work if a Mexican national brings in a truckload of illegals but hasn't been vaxxed? Who wins? I mean, do they let the people in then, or how did? It's just the hypocrisy is so funny. I mean, they can't not see it, right? I mean,
Well, that's the name of the Democrat Party, We're full of hypocrisy
Well,
all
and
around.
then you have him being now the second year running for him not showing up for the March for Life.
oh yeah, the March for
yeah.
Life.
I mean,
Yeah,
March
he
for
doesn't show
Life.
up for life, but he's a supposedly this good Catholic person, but yet he's supposed to stand for life,
No.
but he doesn't.
you can't. There was a time where the Catholic Church was very set in stone on that. It seems that they haven't. Church Militant, which is a group I follow, and Dr. Taylor Marshall, is that his name?
Taylor Marshall. Yeah.
Both of them are very good. They're very staunch, Catholic the way it's supposed to be. Like this isn't right. This is not what we're. Now he's given a pass because apparently the Pope likes his politics, but that shouldn't be the case. And this is another missed opportunity where the Democrats could make a crossroads, because honestly, I don't believe that a lot of them like abortion. I think they need the money mill that was exposed.
I disagree with you on that. I think they're too focused on the right to life and abortion. I think, yes, the money mill, but too many people in the Democrat Party really are about controlling the population, and especially controlling the minorities in this world. And
Margaret Sanger.
Margaret Sangers. And I really think that that's what their goal is. They want certain people exterminated and ended.
Yeah, they want to tell them how oppressed they are and that they can fix their oppression by doing XYZ. And one of the XYZ is abortion.
Yeah.
I can fix your problem.
And we can fix that problem by population control.
So, in another thing, in reference to that, sorry about that, the verbiage that they use is anti-abortion versus pro-choice. And they've gone away from pro-life,
I did that on my page.
right? Pro-life versus pro-choice. So they are the way that they actually project the differences between the two. They're trying to
Make
change
them
the verbiage and
play on game, play on name.
play in words.
Well, they always. That's the first battleground
I
they always
posted that
fight.
on my Facebook
That's
page.
that's the first battleground they always do is language. They always
Representative.
fight language.
You're holding a tweet from Chris DeGaulle. Do you want to read that?
I am. I'll go ahead and read exactly what Chris says. Media covering March for Life, those that do anyway, always refer to it as anti-abortion. While true, I always find it interesting media frames the defense of life as being anti. When referring to those who support abortion, they call them pro-choice. To be consistent, shouldn't they be called anti-life?
There you go.
And that's exactly right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that yesterday, and I had to post
Very
it as
true.
my thing for my pro-life stance. I mean, I was a single mom. I know it's hard, it's difficult, but we need to realize that every child is a gift from God, and every child deserves a chance of
Amen.
life. We
Amen.
have, I mean, Breitbart had this African American man who was a rape baby, and he's adopted 4 kids, and he
Wow.
goes, he's one of those, and rape is like 0.11% of the kids aborted,
Right.
but is given to be the number one reason for abortion. And he goes, I am the reason most people give to get aborted, though I'm the lowest percentage rate. He goes, but look what I've done, look what I do, and look what all these other babies you're given a reason for abortion still have a reason to live.
Right.
His mom gave him up for adoption, but she still gave him that right to life.
Absolutely.
If it weren't for abortion laws, just to tell you, I wouldn't have my middle son because his mom was going to abort him, but because of the abortion laws in Indiana, she was not able to. So I've had him from the day he was born, literally brought to me, and I have raised him, and he is an awesome young man. And if it weren't for the abortion laws, he wouldn't be here. So his life was just because someone cared enough to say, no, we're not going to abort that life. So it's a personal thing for me as well. So I am very much pro-life, and I'm always going to call it pro-life because that's what it's supposed to be.
Oh, I'm disappointed, Shaun, that we're not going to talk about the Duchess of Chaffington wanting to run in 2024.
She gave up her American citizenship.
I
She
know.
can't.
I know. We'll have to talk about that next time because I did want to bring that up too. There's just so much to catch up on, but we have once again reached the end of our time together. So I need to say, on behalf of myself, my wife Michelle, Jeff Coleman, and Kress Cambers, that's it. We're out. Have a good one.
See you, Shaun.
Awesome.
See ya.
See ya.
Go Chiefs!
Brought to you by Portland Funding Incorporated, helping promote traditional values and candidates. Contribute at fundingtheheartland.com.